Hello and welcome to The Watchers. My name's Terence Edwards.
And I'm Rhys Jones.
And here's the news. Sherlock star Benedict Cumberbatch has been cast as the villain in Star Trek II. Cumberbatch joins Doctor Who actor Noel Clarke, Alice Eve and Robocop star Peter Weller in the sci-fi sequel being directed by J.J. Abrams.
The new Bond film Skyfall has resumed filming in London. Several reports have shown Judi Dench and Roy Kinnear at Trinity Square, whilst a funeral scene has been filmed at the Old Royal Naval College in Greenwich.
Warner Brothers have recently halted production on the live-action version of Akira, claiming the script needs to be reviewed. However, other sources are claiming it is budgetary issues that have put the film on hold, the film's budget being slashed by approximately $60 million.
Paramount have announced that horror sequel Paranormal Activity 4 will debut in US cinemas on October 19th. A UK release date is yet to be confirmed, but the second and third installments debuted on the same day in both countries.
And finally, this year's Golden Globe winners have been announced. The Artist and The Descendants won Best Picture awards for comedy and drama respectively, whilst their leading men, Jean Dujardin and George Clooney, won the Best Actor awards. Leading actress plaudits went to Meryl Streep and Michelle Williams, with supporting role awards going to Octavia Spencer and Christopher Plummer. Best Director went to Martin Scorsese for Hugo.
You ready for the mission?
Yep.
That doesn't sound very ready.
I'm going in with absolutely zero expectations.
But it is number 4.
Does the world really need a fourth Mission Impossible film, though, I ask myself?
Com check. We're live.
Target acquired.
What the hell is that?
Abort.
Ethan, what happened in the Kremlin?
It was a setup.
Just walking away from the cinema, Des, I could see your body language said a lot, so I thought I'd let you go first this time. What did you think, my friend?
My God, what a bloated, awful, dull, predictable, boring piece of tripe.
Wow.
Yep. This movie, it absolutely bored me rigid. Everything in it was just so predictable. You know, even sequences which could have had, you know, kind of some tension to them were absolutely wrung dry. A case in point, the climb up the Burj Khalifa tower in Dubai,
Yeah, go on.
Kind of a big set piece of action. You know, you should watch that and your heart should be in your mouth. But it wasn't. I sat back and I was there going, yes, that's going to happen. Yes, that's going to happen. Oh, yes, of course, that's going to happen. Nowhere along the line, at no point during the film was I surprised.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
You really enjoyed it. I could tell you really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. I'm not buzzing, I'm not glowing. It hasn't got the same effect as some films have with me. What I will say is, I enjoyed it because I thought, yes, the plot was simple. It was a little bit too simple, that's a negative. Positives, the action was 100 times better than the third one, where the third one did suffer from too much plot, not enough action. But I think, I will agree with Tez on this one, they haven't quite got the balance right in this one, where there wasn't enough plot, and not that the plot wasn't interesting, because for a spy film it was a regular spy movie with the jeopardy being a nuclear threat, and they had to stop it. But you know, like Tez said, there wasn't a twist, there wasn't a spin in the tail like the Mission Impossible films do have and have had.
Exactly.
But this movie, I don't know why, but I just kind of sat back, went in there, went with it, and I'm going to say it again, it did what it said on the tin. The film, Tez, is called Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Everything in the film is impossible. That you go in, you set foot into that cinema. I was watching it, I was enjoying it, I was going with it, and there was jeopardy and there was the usual kind of tonality of a Mission Impossible movie. Things happened that were impossible to believe. And then in other Mission Impossible movies, there has been the comic relief.
Yeah.
You know, in case in point, Mission Impossible 3, you know, Benji, played by Simon Pegg, was the comic relief.
They're in small doses. However, they promote him up,
yes.
kind of co-star. But it suffers from that because whilst in the other films, the kind of the comic relief is a welcome relief, this it was almost too much. It was grating. And there was a real slick kind of glibness.
But you know what?
To the script, which really didn't agree with me.
Though there's a point that I want to make that I don't know if all that was in the script, or was that ad-libbed, and is that the fault of Brad Bird, who was the director of this film, and he also was the director of this. I might point out that Brad Bird, who directed this, is the director of animated films such as The Incredibles, and this was his first live-action film. Yeah. But this film isn't an animated film. It doesn't need comic relief. This film is a bloody Mission Impossible film, and Mission Impossible films are, as I say on the tin, however, there's a sense of realism within the characters of what they're going through in a ridiculous situation. I went in there expecting a Mission Impossible film. Let me put it this way, if you're going to go watch this film and you're going to expect to be entertained and you like the other 3 films, you're going to enjoy this film.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't go in expecting this film to be the best Mission Impossible film there ever is. Not. I can honestly say, I went in there, I enjoyed it, I got what I want from it. I'm just going to say, out of 5, I'd give it 3.
I think you're being generous. I'm going to give it 2. You know,
that's a fair one from you. You said you hated it and you're giving it a 2, I'll give you that.
There were moments, though, that did kind of redeem it from it being a 0-star film.
So you're not happy with
the whole thing? The whole thing sadly grated on me. So 2.
I think we'll safely leave it there. Tez thought it was tripe, and I enjoyed it because it was, dare I say, it's a 4th film in a franchise and it's enjoyable, which to me is a miracle in itself.
That's an achievement in itself, yeah.
So mate, you've watched a couple more movies this week, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Right, well the first one, and it was The Artist.
Right.
Absolutely loved it. I know people have been a little bit wary of it. You know, it was a sleeper hit in Cannes. It's black and white, it's virtually silent. It is an homage to the silent films of the 20s. The basic premise of it is it's set at the end of the 1920s, beginning of the 1930s, when silent movies basically ruled Hollywood. It takes a silent movie actor, a guy called George Valentin, played brilliantly by Jean Dujardin, and at the premiere of his latest film he gets an unexpected red carpet meeting with an enthusiastic young ingenue, played again beautifully by Berenice Bejo. Fast forward a couple of years and it's the advent of the talkies, and George doesn't believe in them. He believes it's a fad and it's going to, it'll fail. But it is just wonderful as a glorious evocation of that time. You've got John Goodman on brilliant form as the studio head, trying to talk George around to embrace the new technology. Berenice Bejo, her performance is absolutely luminous. She's got the real old school kind of 40s, 50s movie style looks and attitude about her, and her relationship with George, it's just so real. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad to see it's doing so well in the awards season. It really deserves to, and I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5?
4.5 out of 5, indeed. On from one for which I've got nothing but unqualified praise for The Artist, to one which I've got a couple of issues with, and that's The Iron Lady. It's a curate's egg of a film, basically some good parts and bad parts, but the overall feel of it is slightly compromised. I'll start where most other people have started. Meryl Streep. Pretty much just give the girl the Oscar. As a performance, it's uncanny. It's a, kind of a flawless piece of mimicry. The problem is the rest of the film just isn't as good as she is.
Right, okay.
Even though I can't fault any of the other actors in it, they all really step up to the plate. Jim Broadbent, Olivia Colman, Anthony Head, Richard E. Grant in a small but very telling role. They all play their roles to the hilt. My problem with it comes with the script. The script's been written in such a way that it's a series of flashbacks, because if you don't know, Baroness Thatcher, as she now is suffering from dementia. So they're using her current situation and hanging a series of flashbacks to show how Margaret Thatcher became the first woman Prime Minister. My problem with it lies with the politics. Thatcher is one of these divisive figures. For every one person who thinks that she pulled the country up by the bootstraps, there are two more that think she brought it to their knees. And the problem with it lies in the fact that when she actually gets into number 10, the entire 11 and a half years of her time in power is glossed over. You get flashes of some of the important things that happened during her reign, the invasion of the Falklands, the bombing of a hotel in Brighton where she was nearly killed by the IRA. But the rest of it, the poll tax riots, the miners' strike, possibly the most defining period of her premiership, is completely ignored. And that, to me, is a missed opportunity. My problem with The Iron Lady is that it doesn't really know what it is as a film. If it's a biopic of Margaret Thatcher, they've done a complete disservice because, the meat of her premiership is lacking and it's utterly convictionless. However, if it is, as some reviews have seen it, as a portrait of somebody suffering with dementia, then it doesn't need to be Margaret Thatcher. It could be a fictional example, and there have been other brilliant films about kind of dealing with dementia. The one that springs immediately to mind is Away From Her with Julie Christie. The problem I've got with it is Streep's performance it's a 5-star performance, but the film is a 2-star at the best. So I'm going to have to compromise and I'm going to call it a 3.
That's fair enough.
You've finally seen Super 8.
But yeah, I've finally got to see Super 8.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, I'm so gutted that I missed that in the cinemas. This film is remarkable. Well-paced, well-written, amazingly acted by an amazing young cast. I mean, the supporting cast are led by known faces around movies. But this film, I cannot hardly say any more about it other than I would happily give it 4.5 stars.
Okay, 4.5. Was there anything in it that stops you giving it the 5?
One thing that would stop me giving it the full 5 is the alien itself. Just its design and some of the CG elements just didn't pay true to me. That's the only thing. I mean, that's just on a technical film level. That's the only thing I can put against this film. That's why it's not full perfect.
Right.
But isn't there someone you should be calling to bring help? Haywire.
You better run.